Question 79. Fundamental duties as given in Part 4A of the Indian Constitution. Introduction. The ethical foundation of Indian citizenship. While the fundamental rights, Part 3, of the Indian Constitution guarantee liberty and justice to citizens, the fundamental duties, Part 4A, remind them that rights and duties are inseparable. Rights without duties lead to anarchy, and duties without rights lead to oppression. Hence, the framers of the Constitution envisioned a balance between individual freedom and civic responsibility. Although the original Constitution, 1950, did not contain fundamental duties, they were later added to emphasize the moral obligations of citizens toward the nation and society. Part 4A was inserted by the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, 1976, based on the recommendations of the Swaran Singh Committee, making it a distinct moral and constitutional charter of citizenship ethics in India. 1. Constitutional basis. Part 4A of the Indian Constitution contains the fundamental duties of citizens. They are enshrined in Article 51 introduced by the 42nd Amendment Act, 1976 during the emergency period, 1975-77. Initially, there were 10 fundamental duties. A 11th duty was added later by the 86th Amendment Act, 2002, related to education. 2. Text of Article 51A, the 11. Fundamental duties. According to Article 51, it shall be the duty of every citizen of India a. To abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals, institutions, the national flag, and the national anthem. This ensures loyalty to constitutional governance and national symbols. B. To cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired the national struggle for freedom. This connects citizens with the values of the freedom movement: liberty, equality, fraternity, and non-violence. C. To uphold and protect the sovereignty, unity, and integrity of India. A reminder that national unity is a sacred obligation, especially against divisive tendencies. D. To defend the country and render national service when called upon to do so. Every citizen has a moral responsibility to safeguard the nation in times of need. E. To promote harmony and the spirit of common brotherhood among all Indians, transcending religious, linguistic, and regional differences, and to renounce practices derogatory to the dignity of women. This duty promotes secularism, gender equality, and social harmony. F. To value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. It encourages respect for India's pluralistic traditions and cultural diversity. G. To protect and improve the natural environment including forests, lakes, rivers, and wildlife, and to have compassion for living creatures. This recognizes the moral dimension of environmental protection, anticipating modern ecological awareness. H. To develop scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. It calls upon citizens to combine rationality with morality, embracing progress through knowledge. I. To safeguard public property and abjure violence. Citizens must protect public assets and reject destructive methods of protest. J. To strive toward excellence in all spheres of individual and collective activity, so that the nation constantly rises to higher levels of endeavor and achievement. This underlines the ethical duty of self-improvement as the path to national progress. K. Added by the 86th Amendment Act, 2002, to provide opportunities for education to one's child or ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. This links citizenship responsibility with the right to education, Article 21-A, emphasizing education as both a right and a duty. 3. Nature and characteristics of fundamental duties. 1. Moral and civic obligations. They are primarily ethical duties, guiding citizens toward responsible conduct. 2. Non-justiciable. Unlike fundamental rights, these duties are not enforceable by courts. However, they are legally significant because the state can enact laws to give effect to them. 3. Applies only to citizens. Fundamental duties are binding only on citizens of India, not on foreigners. 4. Complementary to fundamental rights, duties serve as reminders that rights come with responsibilities. Freedom must be exercised with discipline. 5. Reflective of Indian culture. They express the Gandhian philosophy of duties, emphasizing service, self-restraint, and non-violence as moral virtues. 6. Educational and inspirational. They are not punitive in nature but aim to educate citizens about civic virtue and patriotism. 4. Significance and importance of fundamental duties. I. Promotion of discipline and patriotism. They encourage citizens to uphold national unity, respect the Constitution, and develop a sense of belonging to the nation. 2. Balance between rights and duties. They act as a moral check on misuse of fundamental rights, reminding citizens that liberty must harmonize with social responsibility. 3. Protection of national unity and integrity. Duties like upholding sovereignty and promoting harmony are vital in a diverse and plural society like India. 4. Environmental and cultural awareness. They promote awareness of environmental protection, Clause G, and preservation of cultural heritage, Clause F. V. Judicial reference and legal influence. Though non-justiciable, courts have often invoked fundamental duties while interpreting laws or enforcing rights. Example: in M.C. Mehta v. Union of India, 1988, the Supreme Court referred to the duty to protect the environment under Article 51A (g). In AIIMS Students' Union v. AIIMS, 2002, the court held that citizens must fulfill fundamental duties to ensure collective welfare. 6. Foundation of national character. They inspire civic discipline, moral integrity, and social cooperation, crucial for the functioning of democracy. 5. Limitations and criticisms. 1. Lack of legal enforcement. Since they are not justiciable, citizens cannot be compelled to perform them by court order. 2. Ambiguity in scope. Some duties, such as developing scientific temper, are vague and subject to personal interpretation. 3. No specific legal sanctions. There are no penal provisions for violating fundamental duties. 4. Selective application. Duties apply only to citizens, not to the state or foreigners, creating an incomplete sense of mutual responsibility. Despite these limitations, fundamental duties retain enormous educative and moral value. They serve as a constitutional code of conduct for responsible citizenship. 6. Fundamental duties and their legal implementation. Though not directly enforceable, several laws and policies have been framed to uphold these duties. Prevention of Insults to National Honor Act, 1971, protects the flag and national symbols, Article 51A. Wildlife Protection Act, 1972, and Environment Protection Act, 1986, reflect duty under Article 51A(g). Right to Education Act, 2009, enforces the duty under Article 51A(k). Dowry Prohibition Act, 1961, and Domestic Violence Act, 2005, support duty to renounce practices derogatory to women, Article 51A(e). Thus, even though moral in nature, the duties influence public policy and judicial reasoning. 7. Relationship between rights and duties. Fundamental rights and fundamental duties are two sides of the same constitutional coin. Rights ensure freedom of action, while duties ensure moral discipline in exercising that freedom. Mahatma Gandhi aptly said, "The true source of rights is duty. If we all discharge our duties, rights will not be far to seek." Therefore, performing duties is the ethical precondition for sustaining democracy and realizing the spirit of the Constitution. 8. Summary for quick understanding. Fundamental duties, incorporated under Article 51A, Part 4A, serve as a moral guide for citizens to uphold the Constitution, unity, and integrity of India. They include duties toward the nation, environment, society, and self, emphasizing values like patriotism, harmony, environmental protection, scientific temper, and excellence. Though non-justiciable, they play a crucial role in educating citizens, shaping public morality, and strengthening democracy. Quick revision notes. Constitutional basis, Article 51A, Part 4A. Introduced by 42nd Amendment Act, 1976. Number of duties, 11, 10 originally plus 1 added by 86th Amendment, 2002. Applies to citizens only. Nature, moral and civic obligations, non-justiciable. Significance, promotes discipline, unity. Environmental awareness, gender equality, patriotism. Judicial use, M.C. Mehta v. Union of India, 1988, AIIMS Students' Union v. AIIMS, 2002. Motto, rights and duties must go together. One-line questions and answers for revision. 1. In which part are fundamental duties mentioned? Part 4A. 2. Which article contains fundamental duties? Article 51A. 3. When were they added to the Constitution? 1976, by the 42nd Amendment. 4. On whose recommendation were they added? Swaran Singh Committee. 5. How many fundamental duties are there today? 11. 6. Which amendment added the 11th duty? 86th Amendment, 2002. 7. What does Article 51A(g) deal with? Protection of environment and compassion for living creatures. 8. Are fundamental duties enforceable by law? No, they are non-justiciable. 9. What is the moral purpose of these duties? To promote responsible and disciplined citizenship. 10. What is the link between rights and duties? Rights are meaningful only when balanced by duties. Final connection. The fundamental duties form the moral conscience of the Constitution, reminding citizens that democracy is sustained not only by laws and rights, but by virtue and responsibility. They reflect the Gandhian vision of self-discipline, the Swaran Singh vision of national unity, and the constitutional vision of ethical citizenship, ensuring that every Indian not only enjoys freedom but also contributes to the moral and collective.